messy. Just listen, all I said was the reason that.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Legs, and I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Sorry about the slightly janky recording setup. I also forgot my microphone at home, my big microphone, so I'm gonna try to fix the audio in post, but if it sounds a little bit off, my apologies. I am not at home. As you can clearly see, I'm in a hotel room. So anyway, today we are going to be talking about Big Brother. We are going to be talking about the 23rd, the 24th, and the 25th. So we had pre-eviction talks, post-eviction talks, a new HOH. Let's jump into it. We have a little bit to talk about, but I don't want to be here for long. So let's start off with Wednesday. First and foremost, the feeds were down mostly all day this day. They were down for 2-3 hours. A lot of speculation was that they were filming for the Big Brother Unlocked thing. And all I have to say on that is it's kind of irritating if we as feed watchers are not going to get the full feeds in order to try to take footage for this show. But in any event, there was a lot of talk between different people again about what exactly is going to be the plan on Thursday. Again, the running plan was that they wanted Adrian to sort of take himself off, and Adrian does actually have a cam talk with himself this day.
Everyone just says, oh, you gotta win the BB Blockbuster. Oh yeah, you tell me that because you don't want to pick sides.
Where he clocks that as well, where he's like, whoa, I'm going to remember that all of these people, they wanted me to get off so they didn't have to choose sides. And he even puts out there that his target would be Jimmy. So I do think that Adrian starts to come to terms with the fact that people are not really playing. I would have liked to see an Adrian HOH personally, but in either event, we have a lot of these little conversations when the feeds are up. One conversation is between Rachel and Lauren, and Rachel actually pulls Lauren aside and is like, hey, do you know anything about Catherine not liking Amy? Lauren denies it all, but as we know, Catherine, she's been pretty vocal about the fact that she's not a huge fan of Ashley. She's not really a big fan of Amy. But of course, Lauren is like, I have no real idea what's going on. And at this point, Rachel is still trying to campaign for Amy. However, as the days go on, I think we will definitely see that Amy was like, I'm gonna be honest, y'all want to get me out, get me out. Amy had mentioned on the feeds multiple times, but again on Wednesday, that she has this job of 20 years, and for her, she had 2 weeks off before she actually lost her job. So that's my speculation into why the eviction went the way it did. I think for Amy, she realized, hey, why am I going to be basically on the block every week? I know I'm likely not going to win, and I'm going to go back home jobless, rather than just saying, hey, let me just call it here. But when the feeds do finally get back on Wednesday, there's no real indicator that anything happened. There's a lot of talk about previous seasons and Rachel's season and how this went and how that went. Again, very mild talk. And Adrian does have this cam talk, as I said, and he does give us his targets. He says that he is gunning hard for Morgan and Jimmy. And then Vince does join this talk, and he does say that his target is Keanu. And again, I would have liked to see an Adrian HOH. I'm just being honest. I would have liked to see a little bit of a shakeup, because if there's one thing about Jimmy's HOH week, it was boring. It was boring in terms of, okay, I don't want to say the game is boring. I just think that there was not a lot of oomph with it. It was very like, whoever gets out, and that's that on that. I think if you're watching the feeds, there's still a lot of entertaining stuff and a lot of mess, but I think in terms of, oh my goodness, are we gonna get surprised? Are we gonna get shocked? I just feel like there was very, very little in this whole thing. So Zach, yeah, like I said, Zach is commencing his plan to be besties with Ashley.
And how you feel. Except our situation's different, because I don't think you like him that much versus I do.
So much Keanu.
Yeah,
I can't stand it.
Right, I know, so it's different.
And so we do see them sort of sitting down and talking a little bit, because remember, he heard that Ashley was throwing his name out, so he claims now he's going to make Ashley's life hell. Again, there was not a lot. I feel like there really wasn't a lot on Wednesday at all. Vinny talks to Morgan and sort of encourages her not to spiral. And by the end of the night, there are a few notable things that happen. One is with Zach, Ava, and Will, they are starting to really notice that Ashley Ashley is not the most trustworthy. While they do like her as a person, they definitely feel as a game player, they just really cannot trust her. Mickey does also fill in Morgan on how she is being seen as a trio with Vince and Zach. And I think there's nothing Morgan wants less than for anyone to think she's working with the guys. But remember, Morgan still does have those little feelings for Zach that people have been talking about. And Mickey and Ashley, they also have a conversation in the HOH. And Mickey sort of feels that Adrian will protect them or even potentially put up Zach. Ashley's like, but I want Zach to stay. And I'm also like, Mickey, I don't know how much Adrian would put Zach up. I'm just not sure about that one. But anyways, we get into the next day, which is yesterday, the day of the eviction. And first and foremost, Adrian, he gives a last-minute pitch. He gives this last-minute pitch to Kat, and he basically tells her, look, if you stick with me, I'm gonna stick with you, okay? No matter what, I got you. Now, Kat doesn't give a definite answer, but let's be for real, Kat. You're voting with the side of the house that was going to vote to keep Adrian. I feel like that was quite obvious, but he does do that. Other than that, we don't have much. We actually do end up having a feed cut. And going into Thursday, I feel like it just became evidently clear that Amy was likely the person going home. However, I wasn't expecting it to be the way that it went. Let's jump a little into the live feed episode. So we do see the blockbuster competition, and props to CBS for finally making this competition where we can actually see what everyone is doing. They had these aerial camera shots. We got 3 on the screen, and we were able to actually see what the people were doing with the puzzle. So that was great. It was a puzzle. Adrian won. There was already a preview of this on CBS's Instagram, so we knew this was going to be the competition. Adrian blew them out of the water, meaning it was Amy versus Will. We get to the vote, and the vote is unanimous. I thought Amy was going to go home, but the vote was unanimous. And I already knew because the first couple of people to go were Rachel, Amy, and Reilly. 3 people who claimed that they were going to keep Amy pretty much no matter what. And all 3 of them voted out Amy. So at that point, I personally knew that Amy was pretty cooked. And we unanimously get Amy out. And lucky for Amy, she gets to go back to her job, keep her job. And as I said, I definitely think for Amy, because she was going to be on the block every week, it was probably the best idea for her to just go back home and get to her job. So the feeds are down. We do not see the HOH competition, but the feeds do come back around midnight Eastern time. And we find out that our new HOH is Lauren. And I was like, whoa, you know what? I'm not mad at a Lauren HOH because I want to see a shakeup in the house. I really want to see a shakeup. I want to see this 10-person alliance having to turn on each other. I want to see a little bit of action going on. One thing of note, as Amy's walking out, she says, get Jimmy out. He's a snake and a liar. And you know what? I'm living for it. I am living for the little messy comments as they walk out the door. Like I said, we need a little something in the house. I don't think it's boring, but I think the reality is a lot of people have opinions that they're holding back because they don't want to be the one to start something. And I want somebody to start something. So Lauren is the HOH.
I said it. He's listening through the door. Oh my gosh.
She starts to have these little conversations around the house. Her first conversation is with Vince, Jimmy, and herself, obviously. And Lauren is not sure who to put up. She suggests Keanu because that's what the house wants and she thinks everyone will be happy. But a lot of people are starting to throw out Ashley into the mix. Ava joins a conversation with them at one point and it's like, what about Ashley? What about Ashley? Lauren's biggest apprehension with putting up Ashley supposedly is that Ashley's going to hold a grudge and or retaliate if she stays in the house. Mickey and Ava have a conversation and Ava does not trust Lauren at all, but she is confident that Mickey's name would never come out of Lauren's mouth. Now, Rachel and Kat also talk with Lauren, and again, Rachel is essentially like, look, Do not let these boys run your HOH, whatever you do. I do think that is fair advice because I do think Lauren is someone who is very close to Zach, and Zach is close to this person. And I do see this becoming a thing where Lauren doesn't really do what she wants to do. I am curious. I am genuinely curious what Lauren actually wants to do herself. So Lauren and Zach do talk, and Zach actually puts out that Catherine is an easy option to put up because it's not going to have any real resistance. Now, he talks about how for him, he would not be able to go up as me because he definitely would leave, but he would volunteer if he could. And I'm like, okay, Zach, whatever. But once again, Zach is another one who pushes out. How about Ashley? Everyone so far is trying to push her to consider Ashley, but Lauren seems pretty apprehensive to put Ashley up as well. Meanwhile, Ashley, Mickey, and Morgan, they are talking and they are worried. They are definitely on the scent that there is a potential of Ashley being the renom. So I don't know, Ashley girl, it might not be your week. It might not be your week. So Ava and Lauren do talk again, and Ava's like, what about Rachel? What about Rachel? Would you ever consider Rachel? And Lauren is terrified. Lauren is like, look, I know with Rachel, if I take a shot, I cannot miss. So, instead she says she's considering using Will as a pawn. And I'm like, okay, you're using Will as a pawn, but who would be the target? Keanu? A lot of people seem to want Ashley to be the target. But now, Ashley and Lauren also have a conversation. And Ashley, once again, is like, what about Rachel? What about Rachel? What about Rachel? So we end the night on all these little one-on-ones. Obviously, we don't have any clear indicator, but there are definitely a few names floating around, with the biggest two being Ashley and Rachel. So we're going to have to see if either one of them end up on the block, or Keanu, or Kelly, question mark. So we're going to see. Should be an interesting nominations ceremony today. So if you made it to this point in the video, that means you liked the video. So I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there, and it inspires me to keep creating. I will see you guys in my next live feed update, and we'll have noms. We'll probably have had the veto already. So I'll see you guys in a couple of days. But ooh, thank you for watching. Bye.